Okay, I will call the meeting to order. If you would call the roll, please.
Mr. Christensen,
Here.
Mr. Cole,
Present.
Ms. Bennett. Here. Mr. Watkins,
Here.
Ms. Baca. Here. Mr. James.
Here.
Mr. Davis.
Here.
Okay, we are all here. I would ask you to join me all say the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendships among united cultures.
Welcome, everyone, and good evening. Everyone has read over the minutes. I will entertain a motion to approve those.
I made a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Okay. New business. So our first item is public hearing for resolution PC number 2024-2025-38. The resolution providing for a special use permit at the address of 29th and Second Street for the purpose of providing their services. Submitted by Mimi's Little Buckaroo LLC.
Mimi's not here?
Um,
She's not here?
they could not be here tonight. They had said someone may come speak on their behalf, but, there's no one.
They're not. So I will entertain a motion to go into public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to go in public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so we are in public hearing. This lovely lady is gonna tell us
Yes.
what we're doing.
So this application was one that was postponed from last month. So unfortunately, the applicants couldn't be here. They had a trip out of the country this month, so. But this special use permit is for an existing daycare that was Little Buckaroos. They changed ownership. They have all of their certifications from the state. They are just waiting for the special use permit to operate in Portales. Right now, they're operating under a provisional license. And then will you go to the next one, Ms. Christine? So we published the public hearing for tonight on 119 and on 212, and we sent 18 certified letters to property owners. There was one for the proposal, none against, and then 6 certified letters to public utilities. There was 1 for and 0 against. And if you have any questions, I will stand for those.
Question.
On this one letter that we got. Bottom of it says that this sale is not confirmed by January 13th.
Yes, so that was initially to apply for the special use permit. They had to have permission from the property owner at the time. But since then they have changed property owners and everything is set with the state, with the property. They're just waiting for the official special use permit to go through.
Any other questions, comments? I will entertain a motion to go out of public hearing.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second to go out of public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, okay, we're back in regular session. And I will entertain a motion to either approve or deny the special use permit for Mimi's Little Buckaroo daycare.
Make the motion that we approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Call the roll, please.
Ms. Bennett? Yes. Mr. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. James,
Yes.
Mr. Davis,
Yes.
Mr. Watkins,
Yes.
Ms. Baca? Yes.
That is approved. I don't know when your next city council meeting is.
It's not tomorrow's, it'll be the next one.
It'll be March 18th.
March 18th, although there's no one here. to hear that. Okay, our second item. We're gonna go ahead and postpone that.
Yes, the applicant couldn't make it tonight, so she wanted to just postpone it so she could be here to present it, so.
So we will go on to item C, a recommendation for amendment ordinance 755 cannabis sales, manufacture and consumption. We don't really need to go into public hearing if it's just a recommendation, or do we?
We don't need to.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a recommendation. So we wanted to bring this recommendation tonight. I'll let Chief Williams here go into it in a little more depth. But currently, we are looking to potentially limit the number of cannabis retail and cannabis producers that are allowed within city limits. Right now, our current stores that have registered business license, we have 10 retail stores. And then we have 3 cannabis producers that are currently working and 1 that is approved to start, but they haven't quite gotten everything together yet. But with that, I'll let Mr. Chief Williams. It's a Monday for sure.
Thank you all.
We need to swear you in.
It's not open, it's not a public.
I swear all the time, though. Right. Okay, I am also the New Mexico Chief's appointment to the cannabis. What is it? Regulatory Advisory Committee. So I've asked this question of the director and other people as well. So we as a local community, local jurisdiction, as they call it, are permitted to limit. We can't say no to these businesses, but we can limit them. And the one recommendation they've made to us throughout the entire thing on this is treat it like alcohol. So if we're comparing it to package sales for alcohol, I think we're already 2 above. I want to say, just off the top of my head when we're trying to count it, I think we have 8 package sales that do alcohol, not including your beer and wine, because those are different licensures than your package sales. So we can, according to statute 26-2C-12, A1, adopt time, place, manner, rules that do not conflict with the Cannabis Regulation Act or the D. Johnson Clean Indoor Air Act, including rules that reasonably limit density of licenses and operating times consistent with neighborhood uses. So, I mean, they've assured me that we can do it. We just have to change the ordinance. I mean, talking with the city manager and such, they said if we just were to say, here's where we're at now, that's what we're going to cap it at. Or if we want the lower one as businesses fall off, as we've already seen some of them do, then we could do that. I don't have a recommendation other than saying they told us that we could mirror alcohol and we'd be pretty safe on that line, because that's how we're at. And I mean, I would almost assume, just thinking about business the way I do, that if those that are currently in existence would appreciate the lack of, yeah, I mean, I think it would be the better for us there. I mean, the big thing is when they were telling us that they was going to do this and they were sending out numbers. I mean, they were saying, Portales would be making millions of dollars a year off of the revenue, and it's nowhere near that, because a lot of them are doing the medical sales that are tax free. And personally, as a resident of the city, I don't think it's fair that I get limited on watering my lawn and things, but then we're going to allow all these growers to continue to come in without a cap on it. So, I mean, I think I've heard that from a lot of other people as well. Luckily, you as the committee get to make recommendations. I'm just here to provide the information that says we can legally do this. And I mean, to me, it would seem fair enough to say this is where we're at today after it's been around 2 years or 3 years since it's been in effect. 2020. So Yeah, so we've been at it for a while. We've seen a lot of businesses come and go. Some of them are very well dressed on the building and the appearance. Others are not so much, but like I'll keep my personal opinions about it to myself. Mainly, I'll just indicate I have allergies. So, but yeah, that's what we can do. According to the, like I said, being on that board and speaking to the director and everybody else up there. I mean, I'm not opposed to having them in town. I just think that just like we don't want a liquor store on every corner, we don't need the cannabis stores on every corner.
Do you think we should cap it lower than what we have right now? We have 10 stores. Should we cap it lower than the 10 stores or should we, and then when a couple more drop off, then no more? Or what?
If they go out of business, grandfather them all in, but if they
Right.
close up for some reason.
My recommendation based on talking to them would be to mirror whatever it is that we have for packaged alcohol.
How many package alcohol?
I want to say we have 8 in town. I know we have Walmart, Farmers Market, the 2 Stripes. And I think 3 of the Allsup stores, maybe 4. So there may be 7 or 8. We'd have to look into it. I don't go into Allsups enough to know if they do or don't. Doghouse sold theirs. and it's going elsewhere. They just sold theirs and it's going to like Roswell or something.
Some other city.
Yeah, it's going to a different community, but I mean, as far as a specific number, I don't really have a recommendation other than I think to me, it makes sense to mirror alcohol like they told us we should do. So
So you're looking for a representation?
I don't know what they're asking. I was just asked to come and provide some.
Is this what?
We are looking to change the ordinance, so we are looking for a recommendation from y'all to figure out what number we want to put in the ordinance. So if we want to mirror it to package licensing, then we can absolutely do that, and we can find that number and then put that number in the ordinance and bring it forward.
Yeah. As far as the grows, that's
I like the idea of going lower.
Lower. Got 10, if we got 8 package stores, is that what you're saying?
there's 7
We
or 8.
think so. I'm trying to find out that
Then,
number.
you know, like you say, okay,
Grandfather them in.
let grandfather them in and then say, okay. 7's our limit on the marijuana. You know, cap it at 7.
But we have, is it a choice? I mean, are we having to cap the growers as well as the dispensaries? Those are 2 different things.
Right. And that's where it's just,
And then right now we have 3 producers with 1 approved. That's 4, we could cap. Producers, because they are losing water.
right.
I need to interject. I'm a producer.
Producer, yes.
And I invite each one of you in this room to come to our grow. We are using less water than we are at my house. Because to get the producer's license, you have to show water retention. You have to show every drop you're going to use, how you're going to reclaim it and reuse. So I think you don't need to just throw out random numbers. I mean, I understand, but I think to keep it, nobody could have a problem with it. I think he has a great recommendation as to the number of package sales. That's my right. That's, if that is how a lot of people feel, then I mean, that's fine. But it takes a lot of money to open one of these.
Right.
As we are quickly finding out.
To do it right.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm telling you right now, we are doing it by the book and our water bill is like $90,000. Because I watch it, because to get our license and everything, we had to show how much.
And I know
If we got 4 on the books, can we cap it at 4?
you can make the recommendation for whatever you want. I mean, just to be a little bit of a devil's advocate to it, how much water would your business where your grow is at consume if you weren't growing? Because most of them have a parking lot and no grass.
when we.
I'm just throwing another argument.
Source,
Right.
we used a lot of water.
Oh, yeah.
So we went out at the right time, I think, but anyway, we are using far less.
Right.
I do not have the exact numbers because it just says on there like 1 unit or something like that.
Right.
But when this was back when John Boucher was here, but he was like, we will be monitoring. I'm like, go right ahead. I understand. I mean, we're doing our part.
Right.
If you go to my house right now, we have reduced our front and backyard by half. I mean, we're doing our part, not only there, but half.
Well, and I'm gonna tell you, as a business owner in town, my bill at the business was more than my house, which was ridiculous because people flush toilet every once in a while. Just because it was commercial.
Right.
So, you know,
And that's why I don't have recommendations for numbers. Just the guidance was follow that, but we don't have anybody running a distillery in town. So I really don't know where we compare. I mean, that's the only comparison I can think of for, I mean, we do have the winery.
one time,
We have the winery and the brewery when they were in business, but they're not regulated the same as a distillery is. Which is your harder alcohol, which is kind of where they lump it all into. Because they have the beer and wine licenses, then they have your package. And then I think I wouldn't be the one to ask because I don't know anything about it. But I don't know where we would come up with a comparison between a grower and other than I would think a distillery. Maybe. I mean,
Are other cities looking at doing something like this?
yes.
Have we reached out to any of those to kind of see if there was any guidance?
I don't know. Most municipalities were under the impression, as much as I know we were when they first came out with it, that leave them alone, don't you go after them or we're gonna sue you. So, which was pretty much what we were getting told from the state was you just let them come in and, I mean, like I said, it's one of those things, we don't need 15 Allsup stores in town. We don't need, $15 stores in town. I mean, but
I
I mean,
mean,
it's
just
just-
be a leader. Why wait till somebody else makes the decision? Let's step up and be a leader. And and let's make a recommendation, to cap it maybe at 7 and then producers, kind of like the alcohol, whatever alcohol bill.
Right.
Let's do it like that. We don't know about the producers because we don't, like you said, we don't have anything to compare that to.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm gonna get a number out the air.
So I'm just saying, if you like it,
it,
you're on this side, and if you don't, you're on that side, and we don't need the city with the line, because look what's happened to the country. That's where I'm coming from. The other thing is it has progressed, because we followed it very closely. I haven't in the last probably 2 years, but just until we got going, but there's something in the, I don't want legislation or something about how you can or cannot limit. There's something in there, if I remember right. So that's what we're looking into as well. I mean,
So what I read is that, yes, you can limit, but you cannot deny all.
that's what it is.
Right.
So
Yeah,
you
and that-
Yeah.
have to at least
Okay, I knew there
have
was something.
one in the city. You can't deny it all the way through, but you can limit as to what you have.
The only one that came up in our last board meeting, which was last month, was a couple of changes to existing, which if anybody wants to, here's what they're proposing, as well as House Bill 10, which was establishing an enforcement bureau for the RLD to handle this. So, I mean, if anybody wants to look at this, I can hand it off. This is just what they provided us at that meeting. I don't know what the status of House Bill 10 in legislation, or it wasn't one I really followed. I told them I supported them getting a law enforcement branch to come out and make sure people are doing things right. Because I can see where, as with anything, when you're talking about a lot of money, the criminal enterprise is definitely going to try to get involved. Whether that be cartels or just any number of people involved. I mean, to send one unarmed agent into a building in Sunland Park to try to do something, I would be hesitant if it was me. But I mean, I think if they do that, it's just like for the state, we've had the SLD, which was the alcohol investigator version of this. That's now under state police. This one would remain underneath the RLD, the regulation licensing division. And I mean, that's all I know. I don't remember seeing anything other than they were changing up some wording on packaging and a bunch of other stuff that they had going on in here. But if anybody wants this, I'm happy to hand it over if anybody wants to look at it. Like I said, I don't remember which bill this was under. But it's just the printout of what they were gonna do with it. Peek at it, can.
Just a question to close any loopholes, because establishments mean testing laboratories, manufacturer, producers, retailers, research laboratory, vertically integrated cannabis, producer, micro business, and integrated cannabis micro business. So these, I'd like to be sure that we close the loophole. Right now, we're saying dispensaries and we're saying growers. Can we put something in there so that this is not coming in as well?
We can. Because I think we have one micro vertical. I think right now we have one micro business, a vertical, and that's it in this town that I know.
So is this included in the 10 licenses?
If they were producing it all, I put it in the producer.
And if they were retail, they were retail.
Retail, they were just retail. Like they only,
And so. Take that.
Yeah.
Well, it would be a hit now because you can't go back and retroactively shut them out. It would be a future thing.
Right, and I think what we're saying is you're gonna allow 7 dispensaries and 7 producers, or 7 total.
Well, I'm just saying, if you've got a producer that's also dispensing. You have 7 and 7, that becomes. One dispenser and both. How
Yeah.
we can't get somebody to produce it, also sell it to free rival. Oh.
No, they have to have.
So if they.
It's one actual license to the state. Correct. I've dealt with this too. Yeah, it's one integrated license, so they're allowed to do all 3 phases.
Oh,
So it's one license, and that's through the state. It's considered a micro business, so I'm not exactly sure how the state,
So
I can contact their
I've got
lawyer.
the definitions right here.
Micro and retail are integrated, not producers.
I can just read you the definitions. I got them right here. So a cannabis producer means a person that cultivates cannabis plants, transports unprocessed cannabis to other cannabis establishments, or sells cannabis wholesale. A cannabis producer micro business means a cannabis producer at a single licensed premises that possesses no more than 200 total mature cannabis plants at any one time. Cannabis retailer means a person that sells cannabis products to consumers. And of course, because they do them all different, there's
That sounds like micro should be under producer.
right. Integrated cannabis micro business means a person that is licensed to conduct one or more of the following: production of cannabis at a single licensed premises, provided the person shall not possess more than 200 local total mature cannabis plants at any one time, manufacture cannabis products at a single licensed premises, sale and transportation of cannabis products produced or manufactured by the person or another cannabis producer, microbusiness or integrated cannabis microbusiness, operation of only one retail establishment, and couriering cannabis products to consumers.
And that's what we have. We have integrated. There's two or one.
And then, of course, retail establishment just means a location at which cannabis products are sold directly to consumers.
We have integrated.
And then the last one is vertically integrated cannabis establishment. It means a person that is authorized to act as one or more of the following: cannabis courier, cannabis manufacturer, cannabis producer, and a cannabis retailer.
So if they can get a license as integrated, they can do it all.
Correct.
So, and we have, how many integrated ones do we have?
Off the top of my head, 3.
Three. Three, and those are 3 out of that 10. 3 of the 10 are integrated.
That's all of them.
So I think if you-
One that's not producing.
If you're looking for it, I think just if you include, if you just say retail,
Micro growth.
so it seems like if retail is what you're wanting to cap there, if you just refer to it as retail, it doesn't matter which one they operate. Because it wouldn't prohibit, say, a producer from also being a courier as part of one of those integrated ones that involves more than one
Producer
business.
should be selling to a store.
Right, which they can sell to other stores, things like that. Because I know the big thing with is they say it has to be grown in New Mexico to sell in New Mexico. And they've had a lot of issues with it coming in from Mexico, California, Colorado. And what they're telling me is it's the testing for the safety of what's added. I mean, because some people are using pesticides and things like that, and that's what they're trying to prevent is people from introducing something very toxic into their body.
Glad they're looking.
So why don't we just try to do the retail?
Plants, is that a lot? Is that a big growth?
That's what we have. Yes, but there are some that are bigger.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's what, a couple of thousand, right?
Yeah,
Why can they grow it outside the county? We're talking about producers inside the city.
Right.
They can
Right.
grow outside the city, so we're just talking about producers inside.
Right.
the city.
Yes.
But can we do the incorporated area around for Dallas?
don't think so.
3 mile.
I'm not positive we can do that.
The county has their own.
We usually have a 3 mile deal where we work with the county, so.
Yeah.
I just know that there's some of these establishments that are growing, they don't follow like what Mr. James is saying they do. They're just, I mean, some of them got it out in fields. And we know evaporation is a real thing and they're trying to grow it out there and have a field. They were telling us about they drove up, they were going to a location to do an inspection and they came across a couple of huge fields full of cannabis plants that they shut down.
Back in the old days of Arch.
Oh, yeah. They used to put it in the middle of cornfields and everything else. Yeah.
From what I understand, after 2 years, the license can go in there and be revisited, and instead of just the 200, they could increase their grow.
I believe so.
Honestly,
You can.
most of that's all RLD stuff that I don't have to worry about dealing with because I'm not RLD. We just deal with the criminal end of it, which would be if they're selling it without licenses and things like that, we would get involved. So if they're not in compliance with with the RLD, then we as local law enforcement could get involved. Or if they're selling to underage, things like that. But as far as just the day-to-day operations of it, it's not something that local law enforcement enforces or can enforce.
And they would still have to apply with the state first.
Yes.
And that, I think that's what we need to also keep in mind too, is it's not just limited to 200, they can go in there and apply for even more. So you're looking at ones that are gonna get licensed here and after so long, increase the growth of their product. The quantity.
Is that something we could write into an ordinance?
Well,
Probably.
right now, they have to apply to use a certain amount of water. So if they go over that, they're approved for like a certain amount of water, say 10,000 gallons a month or whatever. So if they started increasing that, then I would think that that would have to be revisited.
Was that I think that was something council.
10,000
Yeah,
gallons
that's
was,
it.
Right. Yeah. So they've.
and
been
that
limited
is
on the amount of
monitored.
Water.
Those addresses that are registered as growers are monitored by the water.
Can I say something off the record?
I don't think right now. it's recorded.
This meeting.
We can't.
Is it? Okay, good.
Following.
I think I have a solution to all this, but I don't want to put it out there because I don't want to step on anybody's.
I don't have toes to step on in this thing. I'm just providing information.
So
So
we can revisit the recommendation if we need to look into it further and get the specific numbers and have a recommendation to bring to you guys, and you guys can discuss it.
Right.
I'm not as table anything.
So Ms. Laura, just a question. The other day whenever I spoke to you, you said that there were 15. So what happened to the other?
No, so we have 10. And potentially we were gonna recommend we cap it at 15, so we weren't limiting growth of new stores. That was just a recommendation that we had thought of, but we were gonna kind of, but, I didn't know about the liquor license thing, so we didn't present that. But yeah, we have 10 stores, and then we were gonna suggest 15 so that we weren't limiting growth, but we could still say this is where we're stopping.
What was the maximum number that you've already had that opened? If they're not, I mean, at any one time, did we have 12? Did we have 8? Has it been 13? Do you have any idea?
So open businesses that are running is,
No, ma'am. I meant at any, like, say,
what was our peak?
with 13 stores in March of 2023. I mean, we've never had more than that. Have we ever kept?
there
Have
was
we
never-
self-capped within the economy here? What I mean is
It
what?
was 18 at one time.
it was
I don't think did we?
One time it was 18.
So I'm just
But it
gonna
was
say
never
this, I haven't
capped.
got it
It
off
was-
the
it
record,
was
but
never been capped.
here's, I think we're getting into the weeds too deep because in this industry, it's highly regulated and it takes a lot of money. When it first became legal, there was applications, everybody was getting them. Stores were opening up, and look, all these years later, how it's changed. I think it's leveled out, I don't know, but here's where I'm getting this information. If you go and you find out what the sales in Clovis and Portales, and I'm saying medical and rec total, divided by the number of dispensaries, I don't know how they're doing it.
You can go online and look at
I
the
don't know,
numbers.
look,
It's
some of them,
Aren't making any.
no. And that's why they're going
Yeah.
out, so. The caps and all that, I'm not gonna get into the weeds on that, but. I think it's it's just like any business. If I had a garden source and 2 other ones opened up, 2 of them probably go out or 1 might go, you know what I'm saying? It's just economic.
Right.
So cap, I don't care about all that, but when we start getting into the weeds on these micro businesses, integrated and all that, I mean, I don't know. Do we need to attack that industry that's already so highly regulated? That to that degree, that's my.
Well, I'm okay with
It's
it.
simple.
I'm okay with the producers. I mean, that, but I don't have a problem with adopting a regulation that is right there along the liquor stores. You know,
And I believe
and
at
let's
first
do
it
it
was
the same-
supposed to be
let's
mirrored
do-
at the beginning.
let's
And-
ratio, just like the liquor stores. We can only have so many liquor stores in town. Let's just have so many retail, cannabis shops in town.
And I don't think
Let's
anybody
be
can
honest,
argue with
you
that.
cannot complain about that at all.
Exactly.
Now, as far as producers.
we really don't have much to compare it to.
No, we don't. And let it ride. If they can, do what they can do and make money and stay in business, good for them. If they can't stay in business, they're gonna be shutting down.
We can always come back and look at that.
Right.
If we need to, at that time.
And honestly, in Portales, how much space is there that's available that they could try to implement one of those? I mean, there's probably not a whole lot of buildings available that could do that. Not many lots available where you can try to build one. Especially because it's already limited into the zoning. So it's not like you can come and put one up back there behind Valencia Elementary. I mean, you know, we can't do that because it's not zoned for it. But
Okay, so we'll find out how many liquor licenses we have and how many we're capped at, and then we'll put that in the ordinance and bring it back for approval.
Sounds good to me.
That was. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Our last item is the recommendation for where to place materials from the. And just real quick on this, I did take a drive out there and drove around and. You know, except for the dumpsters. I mean, I thought it was fairly organized. You know, out where it is
We're working on it.
and. Just terrible.
So we are still trying after, well, how long has it been? 2.5, 3 months that we've been working on this. There is no good place to truly put the rocks. Now, we are going to clean up the area with the light poles and all the stuff that's out there, the dumpsters, all those things. But wastewater treatment plant isn't a good idea. The landfill isn't a good idea. We have other properties that are outside in the county that are gonna probably add an hour to each job. Not to mention, we would have to pay for fencing for security, so where I'm at is just looking to apply for the special use permit and bring it forward is.
So what, you're just looking, you're getting rid of everything out there except the rocks on the dirt?
Yes, ma'am.
And so you just need a place for the rocks on the dirt?
Yep.
Because everything else is going away? What about all that equipment that's around that? What do you call it, the shop out there? What do you call that building?
The maintenance building,
Thank you.
okay,
It's full of used vehicles?
that are going to auction, yes. Yes, ma'am.
How much dirt and rock is there really out there that you can use potentially?
According to Mr. Chavez, we could not, there's no room to put it in the maintenance area.
Question is, how much dirt and rock is out there where it's at right now that you're gonna reuse?
I don't know the answer to that.
So, here's my question, cities need money. Auction it off.
But we also need the rock and the dirt. When we need it, it wouldn't be good to auction it off and then we actually need that stuff, so.
So you have rock and dirt also back north of Eastern. Exactly.
Correct, in that small yard, we do.
And is there not room to put it back there too?
I was told that there's not enough room to put all that stuff in there. We would have to split it up. The reason why I'm just guessing here is the reason why it's still sitting at the boneyard is because of our maintenance building is right there. It's easy for them to take the dump truck over, fill it, and then go wherever they need to go. It's just a simple process.
My only thing
Mike.
is, some of that stuff has been out there for
30 years
longer.
or longer.
I can think back in the 70s. So
Fair enough.
that to me, that's a concern. If we need it,
We hadn't
and it's
used
been
it.
there for 70 years, when we.
Really?
Yeah.
Really, are we gonna need it? Because how much sand, how good is it?
A
I mean,
lot of it is concrete.
I drove,
Yeah,
I drove in there.
But we're gonna take a lot of it.
Eyesore to anybody, unless you drive back there. You can't see it from any of the.
Here's my
properties.
problem. Why do we have to have this solved today? Nobody's complaining
Well,
about.
we haven't.
We are out of compliance with our own ordinances
We have
at this
to have
point.
zoning.
How long have we been out of compliance?
We
How
were
many years?
not until we figured out that it was all zoned as residential.
Well, it's
It was,
been-
everybody assumed,
Forever. Right,
it was never brought in properly. You are correct.
correct. Who's complaining about it now?
When Well,
Who's complaining about it? Why is it such
We
an
are.
important issue today? When it wasn't an important issue 10 years ago or 15 years ago?
because we have new people that are in charge.
I think the thing here is how can we go and ask our residents to be in compliance whenever we are out of compliance? We
Correct.
can't do that. That's not right.
We're
So,
trying to
the
fix the
city-
mistakes.
The city needs to come in compliance. And instead of having everything spread out everywhere, have it one centralized place. And I think we need to give them a variance and they need to move the stuff that's in Avenue K over there, the stuff that's at the airport over there. If the products over there at the water facility is the city's, it needs to be moved over there.
Correct.
And that place needs to be cleaned up. We cannot go to our citizens and have them, hey, you need to mow your lawn whenever we have a trashy place like that. There's no organization or anything else like that.
I understand. And we're working on that. And one of the things is trying to come into compliance with everything that we're trying to.
Here's the deal. You're wanting to do it where it's zoned residential between those two residents. You
So
want
that's
the
actually
variance.
all county around it except for the Excel plant.
Where the boneyard is between two residents.
You were in the
Correct.
county.
It's a residence. It's zoned a resident.
And
I don't-
they're asking-
One is a junkyard
And
currently.
they're asking for a variance to what we recommend.
Recommend it. You want a variance because we want them to keep that as a
Residential area,
residential. And you want a variance, and how long is that variance gonna be good for?
the special use permit would be,
Until we change the use of the area.
or the property gets sold.
I still argue that it's detrimental to those residents, even if they have a junkyard there.
We also.
Residential,
We also are looking into, that area has the old airport with the runways and everything. We're also looking into the environmental department to see if we need to do any remediation in that area because of fuel, oil, any spills that may have happened.
those residential areas, they go to the north so many number of feet, correct? You know,
Yes.
where the boneyard is between two residents, they're so deep. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm gonna say, you keep that as a residential area, just because someday in the it's junky now, but it's not always gonna be junky, and in the future, somebody's gonna want to do something. So you can back it up, and I'll agree to a variance north of where that property lines are.
300 foot.
Yes, but not between the two residents.
And I agree with Beverly because going out there, it looks like some employees just don't want to drive back there, so they dump it right there by the road,
Exactly.
I did see that, yeah.
which
Yeah, I
that's
would
what
say-
I'm talking about is organization. You can't have dumpsters in the front, you can't have dumpsters in the back. You can't have piles of gravel up in the front and gravel in the back. Make it organized and nice for the citizens and get everything centralized.
You know, they were telling me, said, oh, we don't dump trees there. Somebody dumped trees.
Somebody dump trees there.
Yeah, don't tell me you don't dump trees.
I don't know. So I don't know that answer.
You don't know that answer, but I was told in one of the other meetings here that we cut the trees up and we don't know. Somebody did. So I would recommend that you could have a variance, but it'd have to be north of where those residential lines.
Okay.
But it's not between those two residents.
Understood. All right. And that's what we'll do. All right, thank you.
Okay. Any other business?
Yes. We need 2 volunteers for a sign ordinance focus group. Or billboard focus group. So when we took our recommendation that you guys approved for amending the sign ordinance, city council didn't agree with it being so anti-billboard. So, we are putting together a focus group. We'd like 2 members from the planning commission and 2 members from city council have agreed to do it. So we're just looking to get 2 people, and Kelly and I have rewritten what we want to recommend for it. So we'll have that ready for that meeting, but just so we can get that together.
I will
We make
volunteer.
recommendations. Council doesn't agree with them, which they have that prerogative. If they don't like the recommendations, then let them fix that problem.
I agree.
Is that?
They're just trying to get it done. So what they're trying to do is obviously represent what the council wants, and then also try to represent, just come to a common ground and something in the middle is really what they're trying to do. And
Because initially they said, we'll just leave it, but Kelly and I don't think that that is the situation to go, because one, we're wasting money, we're wasting time going through this whole variance process just for to get denied and then them appeal it. So we want to have a set rules for this is what's allowed, this is what is not allowed. And potentially if someone wants to build a billboard in an area where it's not allowed, they pay for all the fees associated with that. So that we're not putting money, because it's not something that's a necessity for our community. But it was council they wanted to put together a group, right?
yes,
Okay, so yeah, it was council that they wanted to put together a group.
I will volunteer.
Okay.
I think that we need to come to an agreement, because it's bad for us to vote no and then go to the council and then vote yes. So if we can come to some kind of an agreement, I think that that's what we should do.
Anybody else would like to volunteer?
Can my vote count for 2?
Say yes. No.
I mean, if that's all we got, then that's what we'll work with. But that's the only other business that I have, so.
Anyone else?
It's been fun tonight.
Does anyone else?
Hey, what were you gonna do on a Monday night?
And I will entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to,
Oh, okay.
there's a couple of things that I would like to address. Through this boneyard thing, we've noticed that we are out of compliance at the landfill. That landfill, Miss Kelly emailed some items to me.
Correct.
And is counting piles of
yes.
tree and everything else like that. We're not supposed to have anything on that landfill until either 2028 or 2030.
Correct.
We need to get the county to remove their items.
And we are working on that.
Okay,
And then they had, I think, I'm not sure about the trees are something that I'm still working on to figure out who did that. I don't know if I'm not going to try to blame that on the county. I don't know. But the rocks and stuff that were out there, I guess it's been common practice to let them use that when they're getting ready to do work out there, so they don't have to keep going back and forth. And then they clean it up when they're done. So I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that was what has happened, and we are working to make sure that it does not happen again.
talking about compliance.
Yes, ma'am.
Also, in the water treatment plant, there are some piles of stuff as well. Miss Kelly told me that that is a flood zone.
It is.
If whoever that is, we need to get it moved, because obviously we are out of compliance there, because we had to have a special permit or something like that, from what I understood, because it is in a flood zone.
It was previously not in the flood zone.
Correct, but with the remapping,
Yes.
we are now in the flood zone, which means we need to get into compliance.
Well, so technically, since it was there, we don't have to remove it. Since it's filled, but I think we are going to move it. Just so we can get it out of there and not have to. Like you suggested, just have everything in the same place where it is.
Correct.
So.
Last but not least, I know that I spoke very. I'm sorry. Frankly, yes, at the city council meeting and hear about the notices that are going out to our residents. I appreciate you translating them and as well as adding a picture. I think that that's going to help our residents. But I would also like I mentioned to you, Ms. Laura, I would like to look at expanding the 100 feet. That is not with the deal with Eastern. I don't think that that was enough for residents to get notices. And if you look at it, most of that property was owned by Eastern. So it kind of swayed the vote. So we need to see what kind of what we can do to inform more of the residents as to what's going on in those neighborhoods.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, and I talked with Kelly about that as well. And I think, as I had told you, it's something that we'll have to kind of maybe make a table depending on how many certified letters we have to send, potentially increasing the application fee so that we can cover those costs. Because as it is right now, we spend more money than we get in the application fee. So it's definitely something we're willing to look at and potentially increase.
I have no problem with you increasing the application.
I don't either.
Let you get that done, so everybody knows what's going on.
Okay, we can work on that and potentially bring it to next month's meeting for a recommendation.
That's all I have. Sorry.
Okay, no, you're. Anyone else? Entertain a motion that we go, that we adjourn. There we go.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
I got a motion in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.